folks, this is a quick little tutorial on how to use the DWF printer to merge files and create DWFs of your other digital formats. This is used when you have scanned documents or word processor files or things that you want to put into a DWF format that can be opened and reviewed with Autodesk Design Review. So essentially, let's start off at the beginning in terms of installing the program. If you go to the online server and go into Contents, here we are in Contents on the online server, and you go into Software. Inside Software, you will find a folder called Design Review. Inside Design Review, you have two programs. One is Design Review, and the other is Dwf Writer for Setup. Basically, if you're using a DWF program, which most of you probably are if you're using this format, you can install it here. However, it typically installs itself whenever you add an AutoCAD program to your computer. If you don't, you can install it individually by just double-clicking. However, this is just the reviewing program. The actual printer for DWFs is right here, the Dwf Writer. Basically what it does is it takes whatever digital media you have and converts it to what we refer to as a DWF, which is a manipulatable file. And we'll see that in a second. So anyway, this program can simply be copied to your desktop screen. You can just simply right-click on it and say Copy, and go to my desktop screen over here and right-click and say Paste. It takes a few moments for it to install, or actually download, not install. But it's going to locate itself right here, DWF Writer Setup. You can see it right there. And then I would just simply double click on it and it would go through the install process. Now I already have it installed on this computer, so I'm not going to go through this again, but you simply just keep saying yes and follow instructions and it will install on your computer. Now once it's installed, here's the benefit. If I go down to my printers by Start, Settings, Printers, you may be able to locate your printers by going to Control Panel or some other means. Anyway, when you go into your printer's catalog or your page, you're going to actually see a printer called Autodesk DWF Writer for 2D. This basically means it's a digital printer that's now added to your system that lets you take any file that you have and print it into a DWF type format. And one thing to understand is the DWF is very similar to a PDF. It's very portable, it's very small, and it's easily used for markups and other kind of things. It's a very, very handy tool. I use it for a variety of grading purposes and lecture material as well. So really, really handy thing. So now that it's a printer on my system, I can just simply use it as a printer and print off whatever I need. So for example, I have a Word file here on my screen that you can see. The typical Word file, and it just has some text in it. And I'm going to print it to the DWF printer. So I'll just go to my print option and tell it to print. It's going to ask me to select the printer that I'm interested in, and that is the DWF printer, Autodesk DWF Writer for 2D. And I click on it. And there are additional settings if you want to adjust some features about it. For example, if you go to Properties, you can adjust the paper size that it has available, which it has a whole slew of paper sizes available to it. And you can also adjust the quality of the print. Now, 1200 by 1200 DPI is a pretty high resolution print. I think a 400 by 400 will be more than adequate for a typical Word file. But if you want really high quality, 600 to 1200 by 1200 is a great setting for this. I don't know what the default value is. It may be 1200, it may be 600, but 600, 1200 used for high-end stuff. 400 is used for, average things. So I'm going to set mine to 400, for example. You can leave yours set to that. All it does is make it take longer, make the file a little bit bigger. But anyway, once that's set, I will hit OK, and it asks me where I want to print the file. First of all, you'll notice that is a DWFX file type, and it allows me to locate the file and name it. And I'll just leave it called example file. Okay? Alright, so I hit save, and it does a little processing, and the file is created. So I'm going to go out and find it on my desktop screen. There it is right there. See it? Now I'm going to fire it up. Now this is where you have to have Autodesk Design Review installed, which was that first executable file that I was pointing out. It may already be installed on your computer. If it's not, you just go back into Contents, go into Software, and then find the design review and install it. You may have Autodesk 2010 installed, that's fine. Either case, as long as you have the reviewer on, you can actually open the file. So anyway, you can now see the results of my Word file. See how it's kind of a digital format here? Another neat feature about this DWF is the ability to use it for markups and useful tools. So that's why I think it's very, very handy. So anyway, I have now created a DWF of my Word file, as you see. Now what I want to do next is I want to take a picture of something or a sketch, for example something that I drew, and convert it to a DWF. This is done by the following procedure. I'll go find the picture in question. I think this one will suffice right here. So I'll open it up. It's just a sketch that I did of some steel connections, and I will also tell it to print. When it asks me the name of the printer I want to use, I again tell it to be the Autodesk Dwf Writer for 2D, as you see here. And I'll go ahead and set the printing preferences. 1200 again is a little too high for this, so I'm going to set it to 600, hit OK. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Next. Actually, I'm going to make sure I'm animating color, so that's one important thing to remember. Let's see, looks like we're okay there. Yeah, we're fine. So anyway, I hit Next. It gives me a preview of how it's going to pop out, and that's fine. And I hit Next. It asks me once again for where I want to put this, and I'll call this Sketch. DWF X file, and make sure it's set there, and hit Save. Once again, it does the printing process. It's finished. I can close this down and go find the file. There it is right there. I'll put it right next to example file on my desktop screen. Okay. Now let's have a look at it. It loads up, and sure enough, there it is. One other neat feature about this program is the ability to rotate the sheets by going up to Tools and selecting Rotate Sheet Left or Right. I'm going to rotate mine left, and there we go. So there it is. There's my sketch now converted to the DWF format and allows me to do markups and add text and such. Very useful tool. Now the next step is learning how to merge these two DWFs into one file. So I'm going to save the DWF changes up here at the top just by hitting the little diskette picture and hit Close. So to merge these two files, I will simply open up the file that I want to be the first page of my document. So for example, the example file. And I will open up a window that will allow me to add more documents to this file. And what I mean by window is on my home ribbon here, and in my palettes referred to as the list view. Make sure it's checked on. It's off my screen right now, but here it is. There we go. The list view creates a list of all the different files associated with this. Now I've only got one page right now because I've just opened the example file, as you see here at the top. So I want to add my other file into it. It's not a big deal. I can just sort of move my screen to the side a little bit. As long as I can still see my list view window, I can simply grab the sketch file, DWF sketch file, not the PDF, or not the digital image, but the actual DWF of it, and drag it in. You see now that it's added the file. I'll move this back in place and expand it, and sure enough now I have two files on this one single DWF. Now if I hit page up and page down, it'll allow me to cycle between the two, and I can also use the options here to cycle through the pages as well. Page 1, page 2, page 1, page 2. So that's how you basically merge DWFs together into one complete file, which is very good for record keeping purposes. Okay? And one of the things I highly encourage and most of the time require for classes that use this type of technology. So you can also combine this file and then rename it if you want to some former files. For example, I can do a save as and hit save as DWF, DXF, and I can rename to call it perhaps combined. Combined sheets. Whatever you want to call it is fine. You name it right here and hit save, and then I'll close this out. And sure enough, there is my combined sheets file right here. I'll double click it just to show you. And there we go. Page over shows me both sheets, or shows me one sheet after the other. and your ability to rotate the sheets and mark up and do all that good stuff is still there. So that is how you actually merge the files. First of all, you get them both into a DWF format, and then you use your list view palette, as shown here, make sure it's checked on, to just drag and drop your files into each other. So it's just a simple matter of dragging more. Now, if I wanted to create multiple versions of my little sketched image, I could just keep dragging the file in one after the other and adding it in. Of course, there's no real reason for me to do that, but that's how I can do it. Once it's there, you can just close the file. It will retain the name of the original sheet, or you can do a save as and rename it something else. Alright, well, that's a quick tutorial on how to use the Dwf Writer to combine files into a single DWF and merge them, and also how to take various different processing, sketches, and all kinds of different file digital forms and put them into an easy to use, free type program that everyone can take advantage of. Alright, okay, well, that's it for now. Hopefully you learned a little something and can take advantage of this useful information. We'll see you later.